and just give ChatGPT a second for the spreadsheet to upload, which it looks like it's already done. So we have the spreadsheet here, we have our question here, and in just a few minutes, we have this lovely summarized output that I'll review with you. So welcome, super excited for this video because I'm gonna show you how to use ChatGPT to optimize your Amazon PPC campaigns. And specifically for this video, we're gonna focus on the search term report. So specifically using ChatGPT to uncover really important insights about your search terms to help you profitably scale your campaign. So cut the losers, scale the winners, and it's a super important part of your process. Because if you're optimizing Amazon PPC campaigns on a weekly basis, which you should be doing, then there's two big functions that you're doing. Number one is maintaining or optimizing. This is where you're increasing or decreasing bids based on target ACoS, conversion rates, click-through rates, number of clicks, number of sales, all of that. The second step, and if you really want to grow your campaigns, is using what's called the search term report and then running this script with your search term report to, again, identify those search terms that are profitable that we want to add and scale as keywords, and also search terms that you wouldn't find otherwise that are actually bleeding money. So I'll walk through the entire process. It should be pretty quick. So let's go ahead and get to it. So first things first, head over to Amazon Seller Central, go to Campaign Manager. Once you're here, on the left-hand side, click on Measurement and Reporting. Then click on Sponsored Ad Reports, which will get you to a section that looks like this. Once you're here, click on Create Report. I'd recommend Sponsored Products. This is where 80 to 100% of your data is going to be. So Sponsored Products, search term. And if this is your first time pulling this report, I'd recommend doing as far back as you can go, because basically the further back, the more data that we have. So in this case, I'm going to go all the way. Leave it as is. You can set up, recurring email to get emailed like every month. This is good. So we're just going to click on Run Report in the top right. And there we go. We just got to give it a second to load. Then we'll be able to download this report. So once it's available, go ahead and click download, and then we'll move on to the next step. So our report is downloaded and it looks something like this. We can go ahead and just minimize for now. And before we move to the next step, it's really important to understand the different match types within Amazon advertising. So with Amazon ads, you can target specific keywords. What some people don't know, it's really important to know this, is there's different match types. So we have exact, phrase, and broad. Exact match is if we're selling running shoes, let's say, and we're targeting the term running shoes in exact match, then we're gonna match for the keyword running shoes, and it should only be running shoes. Maybe running shoe, running shoes, it should only be that. Next, we have phrase match. So if we targeted running shoes, the same keyword in phrase match, that means we can show up for any search term that contains the word running shoes. So men's running shoes, women's running shoes, red running shoes for outside, running shoes for city, whatever it might be, right? Running shoes for mountain. So phrase match, that the keyword is within the phrase somewhere. Exact match is whatever you target, that's exactly what you get. And actually this screenshot here isn't the best example, but you get the picture. So broad match, this is where you're targeting running shoes and you could match for related, similar-ish keywords. So that could be even like tennis shoes or tennis shoes for men, even though it's running shoes, or tennis shoes for women. It's much more broad. It's kind of generally related. And this is kind of up to Amazon to kind of determine what is broad. But those are kind of the main match types. And that's the reason I'm bringing this up is because we want to focus on broad and phrase match, okay? Because these are going to generate the most search terms. Because again, when a customer types in a certain keyword, your ad shows up. Even though you targeted running shoes in phrase or broad match, the keyword that your ad shows up for could be tennis shoes for men or men's running shoes. It could be one of these other keywords that actually you appear for and not running shoes, where exact match is different. You target exact match, you show up for exact match. It'll make more sense as we go along if this is your first time hearing about it. So let's get to it. So, all right, this is what we want to do. Take this ChatGPT prompt, which I'll include a link in the description. I'll be adding it to our Amazon Seller Vault, which has over 11 tools and templates like this. And you can access it literally for free. So I'll be linking that in the description section. So we're gonna go ahead and open this. Command-C to copy everything here, just as is. Head over to ChatGPT, and you wanna make sure that you have ChatGPT 4. And the reason for this is we wanna use the advanced data analysis feature. This enables ChatGPT to analyze and read spreadsheets. So we have a spreadsheet we want to analyze, so that's why we need this, where ChatGPT 3.5 does not have that. So advanced data analysis, Command V to paste here in Mac, and then we need to attach our file. So what we're going to do is in desktop, we have it here. I labeled it SPST, but it's just your sponsored product search term report. Double click to upload and just give ChatGPT a second for the spreadsheet to upload, which it looks like it's already done. So we have the spreadsheet here, we have our question here, and we can go ahead and send off and then give ChatGPT just a second to reply. It actually takes about a minute. When it's with spreadsheets, it takes a bit more, and actually goes through all of our questions and it shows its work, which is really cool. But obviously you don't really know what questions we're asking yet. So I'll go through step by step and show you exactly what we're extracting and why it's so valuable from our search term report. And in just a few minutes, we have this lovely summarized output that I'll review with you. So first things first, here's a list of high spend customer search terms that have 0 sales. So for example, what ChatGPT did is went into the sheet, pulled out every single search term that has at least $10 in spend with 0 sales. And that's all listed right here. You can kind of see. So why is this important? Well, think about it. We spent $17 on this search term with 0 sales, right? $33 here with 0 sales, 16. And when you add it up on these search terms collectively, we've spent hundreds of dollars with 0 sales. So what we can do is take these, go into our broad, auto, and phrase match campaigns and add each of these keywords as negative exact to all of those campaigns. And what'll happen is, so up to every single day, up to this point, essentially, we're spending money on these search terms. From here on, we'll stop spending money. So over the past 60 days, let's say it was $300 in wasted ad spend. Over the next 60 days, we should have $300 in savings then, right? $300 that would have been wasted if we let this kind of continue. Why? Because this is a 60-day search term report. This is 60 days of data. $300 in wasted ad spend, so that's $150. I'm just giving an example, $150 in wasted ad spend for these type of search terms per month. By adding them as negative exact, we basically cut the bleeding. You can think about unprofitability with your Amazon advertising is like bleeding. So you're kind of bandaging, and maybe you have multiple cuts. Well, we just bandage one of those cuts, if that makes sense. We are spending money with no sales. We're gonna stop doing that. Even if these are important keywords to us, for whatever reason, we're not making sales on these. We're likely not gonna be ranking well for them or not converting well. So these are great to kind of add as negative exact and save, hundreds to thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars, depending on the size of your account. So that's one I love. It's all right there for you. Next, I had ChatGPT analyze every search term with high clicks. So that's, it could be 20 to 30 is a good general range. So let's say 22 clicks or more with 0 sales. In this example, there were none. Otherwise, it would have listed just like before. Why is this important? Remember that Amazon PPC is pay per click. If you're paying for 20, 30 clicks and not getting a sale, that means for whatever reason, your product is not matching, it's not meeting the mark. For whatever reason, customers don't want to buy it. So if you keep spending money on that keyword, you're going to keep wasting money. Again, it's another cut that needs to be sewn or bandaged. In this case, we don't have any of that, so we're good to go. But this is great. If something has, definitely something has 30 clicks. There's one time I looked at an account with 90 clicks and 0 sales. So imagine $1 cost per click, that's $90, 90 clicks, $1 per click, $90 with 0 spend on one keyword. So if you're proactive, that's gonna really help reduce your ACoS without hurting any of your sales. It's keeping the exact same number of sales. So I hope you see why this is so powerful. But in this case, we don't have any. So yeah, 20 to 30 is a good general rule based on a 10% Amazon PPC conversion rate. Number 3, so here are a list of individual words that have a high number of spend or clicks and 0 sales. And I'll explain that in a second. Now, before I get to it, you can see, because ChatGPT is kind of going into the spreadsheet and it's kind of filtering and doing all this stuff like a human being would, it kind of has to reset sometimes. And this is a great example. I actually ran this twice before this video and it ran perfectly with 0 hiccups or anything like that, all right there. But then when I ran it, maybe it's because I'm using multiple tabs or whatever, it got truncated. So here's what I did. It said, would you like me to rerun the data to grab the rest of the list for question 3? And then are you ready to move on to 4, 5, and 6? I'm like, yeah, of course. So, yes to both, basically. Then we continue. So 1 and 2, questions, we got the answers to. Now moving on to the rest. So 3, individual words with high spend or clicks and no sales. So this is really cool. And you should be doing this even if you're not using ChatGPT. Basically, we already looked at specific individual search terms with high spend and high clicks. But what's really interesting is you'll find that there are, let's say, a particular word that is present in a bunch of different phrases. And maybe each phrase has 1 click, 3 clicks, 2 clicks, 7 clicks, nowhere even near 20 clicks or 30 clicks. But when you take all of those keywords, those phrases that contain that one word together and combine, and you look at the total clicks and sales, you can actually realize that you're losing money every time you bid on a keyword that has that word in the phrase. Okay, I know that's a little bit complicated, but so pinned. Here we go. Every search term that has the word pinned, we took those together, it's resulted in 2 total clicks and a total ad spend of $10.50. So to make this clear, for every search term that contains the word pinned in the past 60 days, because it's a 60-day search term report, we've spent $10.50 with 0 sales, okay? So what that means is this might be a good idea to target this keyword in negative phrase match. Why? Because we know, okay, all of the phrases that contain pinned, it's unprofitable. We're losing money. So let's add it as negative phrase so we don't show up for any keywords in phrase match. Does that make sense? So before, when you have an exact keyword like these, right? These are literally exact word for word keywords. We negate an exact. When we're dealing with phrase, but you need to be careful here, negate and phrase. So you need to kind of use your common sense here. But what's really cool is, let's say you're selling a water bottle, or let's say a backpack. So a backpack, and it is not waterproof, right? But people are typing in the keywords waterproof backpack. They see your backpack, they click on it, but then in the listing they see, oh, it's not waterproof, I'm not interested, and they click out. So let's say that we saw that like waterproof here, we have like $100 in spend with 0 sales. Of course, that's an irrelevant keyword. That should be negated as phrase, because there's never an instance where the word waterproof is going to be relevant for a product that's not waterproof, if that makes sense. But again, yeah, so for whatever reason, search terms that contain the word pinned, they get spend but no sales. They contain walking, get spend but no sales, and so on. Next, for 4 and 5, we want to look at duplicate keywords and profitable search terms. All right. But again, output was too large. So it asked me, would you like to summarize with the full details? And I said, full details for both. And then it continued. Okay. So showing you a real world example, even though usually this doesn't happen, but it could happen to you. So it's good to show. So number 4, we want ChatGPT to identify duplicated keywords in the same match type. So when you're targeting with Amazon PPC, my strategy, and I believe this should be everyone's strategy, is 1 keyword per match type. So for example, let's say we're targeting the word yoga mat. We can have yoga mat and should have it in exact match, in phrase match, and in broad match. But we should not have it in exact match 5 times, in phrase match 3 times, in broad match 10 times. There's no benefit to that. What is the benefit? What is the point in that? When you target it once, that's all you need. So what I've done here, this is a little hack, especially if you want to keep your Amazon, PPC agency on their toes and make sure they're doing the work they're supposed to and reduce human error, is in the search term report, we can actually see, we go here, we have the customer search term. This is what the customer searched to find our ad and click on it. And then if we go over here, it looks super small on my screen. I hope you can see this. There it is right here, targeting. This is what we're targeting in our campaign. So we targeted, for example, powerlifting wrist wraps, and then our customer search term was golf range finders best. Again, this is sample data, so just ignore it. So anyway, this is what we target. This is what actually we show up for, if that makes sense. The customer search term versus the keyword, okay? So what's cool is we also have the keyword section. So in this case, here's a great example. Exercise mat set. How many times should this be targeted in phrase match? It's a little quiz. 1 time. How many times is it targeted in this sample data? Multiple times, okay? I don't even know how many times. There could be more down here, but at least 5, 6, 7 times, okay? So again, this is an example, but we have all of these keywords are repeated. So we have 1 inch think yoga mat repeated in broad match more than 1 time. We have 1 yoga mat repeated in broad match more than 1 time. We have 1/2 inch yoga mats repeated in phrase match more than 1 time, and so on. These are ASIN targets. So this ASIN is targeted more than once. This is also targeted more than once. Again, 1 keyword per match type. You can target the same keyword like golf laser. You can have it once in broad, once in phrase, once in exact, but you should not have it 3 times in broad and whatever else, if that makes sense. So usually your list should be way smaller than this. If it's this long, there's a big problem with your ad setup. But this is great because sometimes you'll target the same keyword, especially in exact match, more than once. And this will pick up on that. So you're like, oh my gosh, we're diverting our spend to the same keyword and we're not optimizing one campaign. So you kind of pause the lower performing campaign and just focus all your spend on the other, if that makes sense. Just making sure that you're only targeting once. If you have multiple, you want to pause one of those targets. But ideally, this should be blank when you run it. There shouldn't be any issues, but if there is, it picks up on it. Almost done, I promise. Number 5, this is the exciting stuff. Up to this point, we've negated an exact in phrase, we've removed duplicates, but there's one last step we want to do. So instead of just reducing wasted ad spend, we want to start putting our money toward the winners, right? Let's say that there's, a horse that's just on fire. It's so much better than all the other horses. It's winning the race. We want to put more money behind that horse. Same thing with keywords, right? Or we should say search terms. So like I said before, we have our customer search terms. This is what a customer searched to find our ad. This is what we're targeting. So if any of these search terms are profitable, that means, let's say our target ACoS is 30%. So anything under 30%, 10%, 20%. Again, the lower your ACoS, the more profitable your advertising, if you're not familiar. So the lower, the better. So we have like a 10% ACoS, an 8% ACoS or whatever. That means that, someone saw our ad for this search term, clicked and purchased. And it's a number, a certain number of clicks, a certain number of people, a certain number of purchases. It could be one, it could be many, but it doesn't matter, it's profitable. One sale is profitable, 50. It doesn't really matter as much, but we made at least one profitable sale from the search term. So what we want to do is take the search term and target it. So right now we have this is the target, this is the search term. We want to also target this because each keyword is sort of like a tree, like the trunk of a tree. Phrase match, broad match, and auto, not exact. Especially broad match, let's say you have a keyword. That keyword has multiple branches. So again, let's say like the keyword just like whey or whey protein. You could have like whey protein supplements, whey with collagen. You could have like cow milk powder supplement or, other kind of variations of that, but so many, like 80, 90, whatever. You could have so many different search terms that could be triggered from that one, right? All those branches for the one trunk. When you have the branch out there and it's just kind of getting sales, it could get sales, it could stop at any point. You don't have any control because it's on Amazon's control. Amazon is showing that search term. They could continue, they could stop. So in order to keep Amazon showing it, you need to target it as a keyword. So what you can do is create a new campaign, go back to ChatGPT, and there's a lot. So all of these targets, there's actually 277 in this case, that have an ACoS below 30%. So Rangefinder with elevation made at least one sale at a 0.8% ACoS. Paragon Golf had at least one sale with an ACoS of 1.6%, right? Our goal ACoS is 30, you have this one, Rangefinder Golfing, ACoS of 27%. But these are all profitable. People clicked, they made sales, and we were profitable with those sales. So we want to target them as keywords. What some people do is they just target an exact match. It depends on your strategy. And if you're not really as advanced, I would maybe just stick to targeting these in exact. So what I would do is I would create a campaign and I would only target this keyword in that campaign. I would create another campaign, another keyword. I'd create another campaign, another keyword. Or if you have a lot for the same product, maybe even, a set of 5. Generally, and this goes too much into the weeds because the real answer is it depends, but I want to give some actionable advice. In general, we like to target, 1 keyword to 5 keywords per exact match campaign. Why? It gives us a lot of control. If you have too many keywords in a campaign, let's say one keyword is really, really high search volume, it's going to take up all your daily budget. You have like a $20 daily budget, $10, it's going to eat it all up. And all the other keywords get 0 impressions. But if you split them out, then this one's eating up, your $10, this one's eating up your other $10, but you're getting way more profitable sales as well, if that makes sense. So you don't want to have too many keywords per campaign in general. So I would either do 1 exact match campaign per keyword, or for every exact match campaign I create, I will target 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For example, let's say they appeal to the same product. These 5, I'll target them in exact match in 1 campaign. Then campaign number 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The next campaign, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on, right? It depends on your objectives. If it's a super high important keyword, high volume keyword, 1 keyword per campaign. If it's like, we just want to make sure we keep targeting it, it's not super important to us, but we just want to make more sales, do 5 keywords per campaign as kind of a general rule. And then lastly, I asked ChatGPT for insightful data for reducing wasted spend and increasing sales. This is kind of hit or miss sometimes. And you can also do this with your bulk files with Amazon PPC, which I might make a future video about. So be sure to subscribe if you found this valuable, because I'm still working on some ChatGPT hacks with Amazon ads. And basically, ChatGPT's AI, it goes into your account and just looks at all this different data, and it can come up with some really interesting insights that you would never have seen on your own. Now, in this case, it's stuff we already know. So like terms like yoga mat art and wrist wraps power are costing you, but they're not converting. So you should maybe, remove them. Terms like rangefinder and elevation, cheap golf accessories are gold mines, maybe boost spend there. So that's actually kind of interesting. So with elevation or like cheap, maybe we actually are, even though we kind of have this more luxury brand, we're actually still cheaper than a lot of other options, right? Just kind of interesting insights. But overall, in my opinion, not super, super insightful, but it kind of depends because it's totally dependent on your data. So yeah, super, super powerful. I hope you see the value in this. And remember that you can access my full search term analyzer ChatGPT prompt in the description section, along with 11 other Amazon tools and resources that are totally free for you. Hope you find it extremely valuable. And lastly, if you were kind of confused by some of this, or you know that there's more you need to know about Amazon PPC to really increase your results, you didn't used to be critical for Amazon sellers years ago. Now it is critical, it's super important, and it's more competitive than ever. So if you want a step-by-step guide that literally walks you through everything, it simplifies the Amazon PPC process, then be sure to check out our affordable, proven and profitable Amazon PPC advertising course, now available on Udemy. I'll have a special price in US dollar, not in South African Rand, where I am right now, in the description section as well below. It contains this prompt as well as a ton of other specific optimization criteria, how to actually manually do this in your Amazon Seller Central account, explains everything with the match types and literally walks you through step-by-step from beginner to advanced strategies, breaking out exact match campaigns versus your other campaigns. So yeah, hope you found this valuable and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Till then, cheers.